All right,
Right.
so starting things off, I will talk about. We'll start things off with Tully. So
Okay.
we just pretty much doing the films that came out months before the time of this recording here, and this one here was showing up pretty much in some best of lists, best of 2018. However, though,
Right.
it showed up on one worst of list, and I was actually kind of surprised by this, right? So I went into this kind of curious to see what it's about. I mean, it had McGill, Charlize Theron in it.
Right.
It's directed by Jason Reitman and written by Diablo Cody. So once again, they joined in forces. 'Cause, I mean, they worked together on Juno, which was admittedly a movie that I liked, but I didn't love.
Yeah, I remember enjoying that. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a movie that I was like going ape shit over. You know, a lot of people were like hailing this as
Right.
probably the best movie of 2007, and look at the great writing and the great characters and all that kind of stuff. I looked at it and I was like, it's fine,
I
it's fine.
no,
Yeah,
well, no, for me, yeah, I just remember it having some solid dialogue. At least at the time, it was kind of clever.
yeah. It
Um.
was no denying the writing is excellent. It just didn't blow me away. That's just what I'm saying.
Anyway, well, Tully also starring one of McGill from *Halt and Catch Fire*.
Yeah,
That's
Mackenzie
Mackenzie
Davis.
Davis. Right. Right.
Right. Who was also in well, this is funny because Charlize Theron was in my favorite movie of 2015 or was it 16, which was Mad Max Fury Road. And Mackenzie
Right.
Davis was in my favorite movie of last year, which was Blade Runner 2049. So look at that, right?
Right.
This movie also stars Mark Duplass and
Right.
Livingston. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So pretty much.
Of the space fame.
Sorry.
Of a space fame.
Yes, definitely. Of that iconic cult classic, Office Space. Right. So went into this movie completely blind, didn't know what it was about. Just heard the name show up a lot of times. A lot of reviews came out for it, but I didn't watch any trailers or any reviews prior to watching this movie here. So
Right.
essentially, the story centers on the character of Marlo, who's played by Charlize Theron, who, by the way, gained some extra pounds to play this role because, yeah, she's a mother of
That's
two children and she is pregnant, so she's expecting a daughter,
right.
actually. So, yeah, right off the bat, you see her, like, big. You know, at first I was telling myself, all right, well, they have the, I don't want to say prosthetic, well, they have the fake baby bump basically there, but
Right.
you do see, physically that she she does have size. She did put on weight for this role because
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
having the
That's
baby, she
very
still have that baby fat now.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything is a bigger on average. Yeah. For most
Right.
women.
Exactly. Yeah. So she had a son and a daughter. Well, the son has pretty much this developmental disorder that doctors weren't able to diagnose. Like
Right.
at first I was thinking it was autism. I'm not too sure, but basically it's like when a certain word or a certain sound is a certain, like when he hears a certain sound or word, it just kind of
The
triggers
trigger.
this kind of reaction. So he just starts to
Yeah.
kind of like in one scene he's seated in the back of the car, and then he's complaining about Marlo not parking in this specific car park now. He just starts kicking the front of the seat and just starts complaining and
Yeah.
just screaming now. So I wasn't too sure exactly what the actual symptom, not symptom, the actual disorder was, but they didn't really stop the show to kind of telegraph it. But I guess you have to kind of figure out what it is. I guess. Well,
Right.
if you're familiar with it, sorry. Her husband, who's played by Ron Livingston, is Drew, and pretty much all we see from him. I mean, he is supportive, but oftentimes, like especially like after the pregnancy, you kind of just see him coming home late from work and then just going up to his bed and putting on his headphones and playing video games. So that kind of
Right.
shows the level of how dedicated, quote unquote, he is to his family. They also have a daughter as well, and basically, well, she doesn't have like a particular disorder, but basically it's more like she's kind of doubtful of herself. She kind of looks down on herself. She doesn't feel like she belongs, or she's everything is right now. She really does kind of beat herself up, which is kind of funny given her age. But I
Yeah.
guess when I guess is that period in your life where you kind of start to question things. I guess so. That's where she is now. So long story short, basically we just seen Marlo trying to take care of those two children whilst dealing with the pregnancy. And then she does eventually give birth, right? But before all of that, she visits her brother, Craig, who is played by Mark Duplass. And
Yes.
basically, he mentions that, during the process, when his wife had given birth, they hired a night nanny, right? So, all the stresses of the day that she had to deal with, she could just more or less go in her bed and just have a nice sleep, and just have the night nanny
Right.
take care of everything, right? So they recommend to her that she gets one, right? And Marlo does eventually gets one, by the name of Tully, and she's played by Yagail Mackenzie Davis. What's pretty
Yes.
interesting here is that the movie clocks in at 96 minutes, and
Okay.
we see Tully literally like at the half hour mark. Then at first I was like, okay, so she's
Good.
only given like about an hour or so screen time. Kind of weird, right? But anyway, but in that first half hour, I do like how you see the pressures that Marlo is going through. It really does suck having to take care of two children and then another one on the way when 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 you're not getting enough money, when it's just really hard to get by financially. And that's really what they address in the first half hour here, because she's trying her utmost hardest to maintain and just pretty much to you know
Yeah, stay above water.
stay above water, have a level head, but it's really stressful. If,
Yeah.
especially with the fact with Jonah, with him spazzing out and stuff, and then there's even a subplot where basically the dean of the school actually is kind of propositioning to Marlo that that Jonah gets a transfer, basically because
Right.
of his attitude and whatnot, right? So
Specialties.
yeah, so now we get to Tully basically, and Tully at first kind of comes off like this. I don't know, like I was thinking more like she just came from some kind of Coachella or some kind of thing, so some kind of
Right.
rave or something like that. No, she is
Right.
clearly younger than Marlo, right? She has this kind of free spirit way about her. And she's like ridiculously nice though and friendly, She's like, don't
Yeah.
worry, go and sleep. I'll take care of her, I'll take care of the your baby and all that kind of stuff. And of course, Marlo's like, well, I don't know. I don't really know if I should have this stranger take care of my kid. I don't know what will happen. But over
Right.
the course of a few weeks, they do open up to her. They do see that she is great around the daughter basically. And Marlo eventually opens up to Tully, talks to her about her life, just the stuff that she wish, her regrets and whatnot, just stuff that she wish she could have um been able to do again, like get
Yeah.
more or less rekindle the flame with her husband for one thing, instead of him just coming home and playing video games, he just want some sex, some sexy time basically,
Right.
to quote to quote Borat for example, right? And it's just basically just like both of them just becoming the best of friends, learning a lot about each other. But then there is a particular twist that happens in the third act, and that
Okay.
kind of makes you kind of question exactly what was going on initially. And I'll stop there, right? And I
Okay.
believe this twist in particular is the reason why that one person put it in the worst stuff listener, because just kind of paraphrasing what he wrote, right? So basically he was on board with everything that was going on, but it's just when it reaches to that twist is like, well, what the hell was this, you know what I mean? All I would say
Yeah.
is that it has a kind of Mary Poppins kind of style to it, but
Okay.
just in a Jason Reitman Diablo Cody kind of way, right? So it feels real. It feels kind of down to earth, basically, but there's something a little quirky and strange about it, right? Which I would assume, because I haven't seen Juno in like ages, is Jason Reitman style anyway, right? So for one thing, the acting from top to bottom is superb. I mean, Charlize Theron is great. I love how committed she was to the role.
Yeah.
For one thing, putting on nearly 50 pounds for this performance here. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Because
then
she lost a lot of weight for Atomic Blonde, right?
yeah, well, this is after Atomic Blonde. Remember, Atomic Blonde came out before this.
I was saying that she lost weight for Atomic Blonde, so it's like lost weight, gain weight. She doing the female Christian Bale thing.
Yes, I was thinking the same thing. Like what he did in the Machinist back in
Yeah.
2004. Now, right?
Get to Batman.
Yeah, yeah. Before he went to the Batman, I had to bulk up to play
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne for Batman Begins. Right? Yeah. So and she does well, once again, just similar to like what she did in with Monster, I believe, which came out in 2004. Was it three? I can't remember what it was, but she looks totally different. You know, she has this kind of drawn out, kind of slightly tan look to her. Basically, she doesn't
Yeah.
look gorgeous as she normally does. Just saying. Um, but you know, she does look like this drawn out, tired, depressed mother. Basically, you know,
Yeah.
just getting up and going to sleep, and it's just stress up, you know, stress, just stress all throughout her life, basically, right? Well, just stress in the period of this movie, I should say. So she does look the part, she does act the part well enough. Um, the supporting cast is great as well. I really was impressed by Mackenzie Davis, who played Tully.
Yeah.
I thought I really liked what she brought to the film as well. This kind of upbeat vibe to the film. At first, it just
Yeah.
kind of came off like, yeah, this is life, and life is gonna suck, and you know it's gonna be hard when you have a wife or a spouse and have two kids and you're trying to manage them. Like life sucks basically. Like at first that's kind of like the message that they kind of that they're throwing at the audience, and in a way
Right.
it is kind of the message basically. Like yeah, it's life's gonna be a lot harder when you not just when you get older, but when you have kids, when you have a spouse to look to look to maintain, basically like that now. But I also like how Tully kind of came in. She kind of understood the situation, and she was just like, well, you know what, things ain't really all that bad. I mean, you just had to look at the bright side of life. Just make the most of your situation, and I love that.
Right.
And I like that there was this kind of air of mystery to her. You wasn't too sure exactly where she was coming from. She does open up a little bit, but then like when before the twist comes in, it's kind of like okay, she's kind of reserving herself, but we not too sure why now. Supporting cast, like I say, is great as well. Mark Duplass, I thought that he was kind of like one of the bright spots as Craig. He was more kind of open. He was more light-hearted as well. Kind of feeling sorry for his sister for being so depressed and all that kind of stuff. I
Right.
also liked with Ron Livingston character, like he does kind of come off a little bit of like a prick basically, because you would think that, all right, I have a baby daughter, I'm gonna take care of her, I'm gonna do something. But no, I mean, the night nanny's there, man. Tully's there. She's cool, man. You know what I mean? I just go in and play some game, right? Fuck it, because I just work hard all day, you know what I mean? And, it's kind of a relate. Well, I wouldn't say I relate to that, but I do know that there are dads like that out there, basically, right? So I do love the realism in this film, even though, like I say, it does have a kind of Mary Poppins esque kind of vibe going on, but that's all I'll say. One thing though, well, I didn't even know about this until afterwards. The movie was actually criticized, well, from some critics actually, for the way how they portray mental health. Basically, in terms of Marlowe's character or Charlize Theron's character, because yes, she is going through postnatal depression, basically, um, and also with her trying to deal with this kid that a lot of people call him retarded and not really sure how to take care of him or how to treat him
Yes.
and all that kind of stuff. There, so you see that pressure in her, and I could understand the criticism there because it's not like totally addressing the situation of mental health. It's just showing a character going through the situation, and this is how she pretty much deals with it, right? It's not like, oh, this is what all people, or sorry, all mothers, deal, how they cope with these situations. Like the movie is not like that, but I can understand why people would criticize it for that note, really. But I don't think it's like that, right? Um, but other than that, though, I mean, nothing really much to say. Like, I mean, the writing is strong. I love the dialogue in it. The acting is great. The twists caught me a little. Actually, it did catch me off guard. But I was like, okay, all right.
Right.
I kind of. Okay, I could roll with it. I could roll with it. It didn't take me out of the movie at all. I didn't think, oh, it was shit, or it didn't. It
Okay.
felt out of place or nothing like that. It worked, in
Right.
terms of the kind of pseudo realism of the film as a whole, and it does kind of end on a feel good kind of note, but kind of slightly bittersweet as well, because once again, it's real life. It's this mother who still has to cope with this day to day, um, situation of taking care of these three children, and not to spoil the ending itself, but pretty much that's really what it is, right? And just how this character here, Marlowe, deals with it. But overall, this movie was what it was. I know it will show up in a lot of like best of lists for the year, like at the year's end. But I don't know. For me, it probably will end up making an honorable mention. But I saw it, and just like Juno, it was what it was. I wasn't completely blown away by it. I mean, I know there's an audience for these kind of feel good kind of pseudo realistic films like that. But
look, we have her audience because she's
Yeah.
one of those teenagers that she grew up kind of come across as these sort of face value is quite cynical, but
Yes.
really want to be, a hopeful kind of figure as a filmmaker coming up now, especially still getting older.
yes, yes,
Uh,
yes.
Okay. So I'd like to see. Yeah, okay. So I'm excited about this now. I actually want to make the effort to see it.
Yeah,
But when
yeah,
it came
yeah.
out first, well, might go and see this, but I wasn't too hyped. And it's only because of Mackenzie days I kind of wanted to see it, but it didn't pull me in too much. And I suppose I was just busy writing or doing some shit at the time
Right.
for me to not be too pulled into it. No. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'll make the effort to go see this now.
Yeah, please do. Because it is a really decent film. And last thing I'll say before I get to rating, I do like the fact that there are movies like this that are being made, that are being well received, not just well critically, and that do happen that manage to do numbers in the box office as well too. You know what I mean? Like not expecting it to make millions and millions and millions, but it still has its audience, and that's pretty admirable when you think about it, right? Given the source material and given the kind of low budget indie approach to things, right?
Right.
But yeah, for me, I would give this a decent 3.5 out of 5. This is worth checking out. Once again, it did not blow me away. Like I wouldn't put this in my best of for sure, but I do see this showing up in my honorable mentions list. But this is one I would say don't skip this movie. If you do like comedy dramas, if you just want to break from explosions and special effects and all that kind of stuff, then yeah, give Tully a look. You may find yourself really enjoying it.
Cool.
Now we have to get into breaking in by
Right.
this one.
I was actually kind of puzzled as why does it really wanted to do this per se. Because it's like this kind of come and gone for me now. It's like, yeah, this is the garbage unit vehicle that kind of sucked. And I was like, all right, well,
Yeah. Well,
I was
alright.
surprised to the show.
Yeah, well, I'll confess something, right? So, first time the trailer came out, I believe it was late last year or early this year. Trailer came out, and I was kind of getting exploitation B movie kind of vibe from it. Something a little edgy, like a cool little home invasion thriller. Something that you don't really think about too much, but you just kind of have fun because of how dumb it is, right? I was like, all right, I'll check it out. I see they trying to hype it up as his Mother's Day release and all that kind of stuff. Then, time of the movie's release, sorry, you just started to smell you just started to get a whiff of that bullshit, Jed, you know what I mean? Just in
Yeah.
the air, basically. That's all kind of bad reviews about it. But I was still curious about it. I mean, not just because it's Gabriel Union as the lead, but also it's directed by James McTeigue, who directed V for Vendetta, which is like one of my all-time favorite movies. I know it's not
Right.
yours, but I kind of love V for Vendetta, you know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, I was like, but okay, what was wrong about this now? So curiosity killed the cat, and I actually checked it out. And then also too, well, the version that I saw, well, it's actually coming out on home media this week at the time it's recording, is the unrated version. So I was like,
Right.
all right, this gonna get more edginess, more violence, more foul language. You know what I mean? Show you the stuff that we couldn't get in the PG-13 theatrical cut. Okay. But what was weird, however, is that I was looking at the runtime for both, right? And they were pretty much the same length, 88
Okay.
minutes. So I was like, okay, did they remove scenes, or did they tweak certain scenes? Did they show little seconds of blood or stuff like that, or did they kind of trim it down? What did they do now to have this unrated cut now? You know what I mean? And boy, let me just get to the story first, and then I'll actually talk about the weird thing that they do, right? So, premise is simple, right? So, Gabrielle Union plays the character of Sean Russell, and her father, Isaac, was actually murdered, right? And they actually spend like the first 3 minutes of the film kind of setting up how he got killed, right? It kind of comes off a little hilarious because of the way how it's set up, but it just kind of goes from hilarious to dark in like a
Right.
split second basically. But still, it just kind of came out of nowhere. It made no sense to me, right? Because that's the only time that you saw Isaac, and then also too, you're not too sure what happened or why it happened. If it was an accident, well, not to spoil anything, but it starts off as an accident, or at least you assume it's an accident, or at least the way how it's shown it's an accident, and it looks unintentionally hilarious. That's all I would
Right.
say. So I just imagine people just like laughing their asses off when they saw that, but before they kind of cut to the title, is like, oh, that was kind of fucked up. Okay, but anyway, right? So apparently Isaac had some was involved in some kind of thing, but the movie never really explains what it is. They just kind of
Right.
throw little hints at it, and we're supposed to piece together what happened, but whatever. But anyway, so Sean has this kind of like she pretty much she never had this solid relationship with her dad for a while. So after he died, she was like, well, okay, well, she's gonna move there and pretty much sell the house, basically, right? So she moves with the
Right.
kids, well, son and daughter, and the son and the daughter, uh, them actors, but
Yeah. Bad. Yeah. Bad child actors.
bad child actors, but yeah,
Here's the thing about that. Here's the thing about that. So I on the fence about bad child actors because I know how difficult it is to get good child actors. On the one end, on the other end, you don't know. Like you're seeing so many good child actors, especially in the last couple of years, that you're wondering like whether or not it's still an excuse to have bad child actors still.
you know. But here's the
I
thing,
on
eh?
the
Yeah, but here's the thing though. It's not like they don't try it. It's just that the characters, right, so one dimensional. So
right.
the son, for example, his name is Glover, right? And he is like, let me just say he's like 13, 14, around that age basically. And he's like this like computer genius basically, so he knows a lot about security cameras and Wi-Fi, and he just spouting all these information dumps onto his mother now. Like in one scene, for example, where like a large number of just like security cameras now just showing in like two displayed, sorry, and in two computers basically, and he just explaining all this stuff, and then he playing around with his drone and all this kind of stuff. So it's like, all right, you're trying to sell the fact that you're real uber smart now, but I'm not really seeing it. You're just kind of coming off like, I know everything, I know more than you, but you're just coming off way more annoying than anything else. And then the
Right.
daughter now, Jasmine, who is let me just say she's like well, maybe she's like 18 or whatever it is. I would say like early 20s or maybe less than that. I
Right.
should say, like in the film, just on she phone, usual
Right.
cliche. They go into this place, but she's still talking to her boyfriend, and it's usual shit now. The brother teasing his sister about the boyfriend. It's just the same generic shit. So that's the problem. It's just the characters so thin and wooden that when they try to act more, when they try to do a little bit more from out of the characters that they're given, it just looks bad. You know what I mean? It just looks bad. So
Right.
it's not to say that they are terrible actors overall, but they just not given much to work with. So you know what I mean? It's just them kind of flailing their arms trying to figure out what to do basically. Sean, Jasmine, and Glover moved to the place, set up everything. Um, just out of the blue, these three guys, well, they never really show how they broke in, but they were in. So this is what happened right after Sean goes outside to make some call to order, I think it's pizza or some shit like that, right? Yeah, literally, she goes outside to make an order, and inside while all this is going on, her son and daughter are attacked by what is basically three guys that were in the house, and one guy is outside. So the one guy attacks Sean. Sean eventually kind of stops him and runs, and he chases her down, and then eventually she overpowers him, and he gets tied up. So basically, in those home invasion movies, you always have that one guy who's just kind of just there to get tied up or just get beat up by the protagonist, so they could get information as to what's going on, right? So he's that guy,
Right.
right? And the other three guys inside is just basically, oh well, Isaac had some money, so now we have to look for the safe, but we'll wait until these guys come in. so we could use the kids as collateral. So now Sean has to do what we say. She can't go to the cops because if she does, we'll kill the children. You know what I mean? Typical shit. Blah blah blah. Right? So of course, like the title suggests, she has to break in and save her son and daughter basically, and that's all I have to say as far as the premise go. So, onto the weird reason why this movie is unrated, right? So I was watching the movie, right, and I was telling myself, okay, so clearly this has to be the PG-13 cut because I'm watching the runtime now. I hear one man say fuck. I say, alright, I know the rule with PG-13 movies. You gotta give like about 2 fucks, 3 for the most, if anything. I know. Malcolm X, perfect example. I know that movie in particular had 3 fucks in it. I remember that specifically, right? But this one, like, it was like, okay, 4, then 5, then 6, then 7. Like, wait. So much fucks in this movie? How come now? All of a sudden, I was questioning that. I was asking myself, is this the unrated cut I'm watching here? And then I realized, yes, it is. So, Ricardo, this is what happened. I actually learned this from one of my favorite YouTubers, Chris Stuckman, because he saw the theatrical cut of this. So, in the theatrical cut, they censor the fucks to friggin'.
Okay.
So it'd be like friggin', right? Get in the friggin' car, you know what I mean? But I'm watching the lips in the movie, and you see them saying fuck, right? They don't cut to like another shot when somebody says fuck. Sometimes they do that in certain TV shows, like, or sometimes when actors don't wanna, like, I don't know, maybe they have like these ultra conservative parents who don't want to see them say fuck on screen, so it's always cut the moment they say the F word now, you know what I mean? But they don't do that. You see everybody say fuck now when they say it. So I'm like, well, wait, that's so. This is the way that Audio decide to have a PG-13 rating, just to draw in our audience. You know what I mean? To have a TV version basically of the movie and put it out in theaters, though.
Yeah, cheap, real cheap.
God, boy.
Cheap strategy, cheap everything.
Yeah, boy. And I couldn't help but think about Skyscraper, which is funny because I saw this after Skyscraper, right? And the same views that I had there, but it's really more prevalent in this movie. This was made to be a R-rated movie. It's not like Skyscraper where they was desperately trying to maintain a PG-13 rating, and they just took things so serious. It's like, well, what the hell? It might as well have just been an R, you know what I mean? Like, Live Free or Die Hard. But in this case, it's clearly a R-rated film. So why the need to make it, to dumb it down, say friggin', and make it PG-13? Like, what's the point of all that? You know what I mean? But yeah, but
it's not like this is a thing clearly catered to kids in any way. It have one kid in it, but
well, 2 kids actually, and they put in so much danger. You know what I mean?
As a kid, but just what I mean though.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get what you're really catering to who the audience is. It's supposed to be 13-year-old boys, but nobody 13-year-old boys want to see Gabrielle Union in action. She's not an action star.
That's
right?
the
She's
thing.
not a high school. So I don't know who this for. Is it for young girls, maybe? To see Gabrielle Union in action role? Not sure. Again, you feel like it have a real messed up gambit when it comes to the demographics now.
Yeah. But I mean,
they make a call and they think, oh well, this demographic going to movies now, therefore we're gonna cater to that audience, which is i.e. young girls or young black girls maybe. I ain't sure.
Yeah. Now here's the thing though. Well, just to talk about that for a bit. So we had films like Girls Trip that was rated R, right? A lot of explicit language in it, but it made a killing, right, in the box office, right? So there's an audience, African American women went to see that, loved it. It was actually my favorite comedy of last year. And this year, actually, we had 2 movies with Taraji P. Henson. We had Proud Mary, which I haven't seen, and Acrimony, right? Both were R-rated films. Now, I don't know if a lot of African-American women went to see those movies, but I would assume because of the lead, they would go. Despite the rating, right?
What I understand, Proud Mary didn't do that well, but Acrimony did okay. Because Acrimony was just insane. Like, it's insane, from what I understand. So...
Right. I kind of want to see this. I just have a feeling that I will just be laughing at how bad it is. But but you're right though. It's just kind of weird. Like, who is the audience for this now? And the time they're bringing it out too. Like, this is not a summer movie, so you're expecting probably, I don't know, like, what type of audience in particular you were looking for. You could afford to make this R-rated film. It was made, it was tailor-made to be R anyway. So why, why censor it to begin with? But speaking of Gabrielle Union, of course she is the best thing about this show. She does commit to the rule very well, and she does make some very logical calls. She doesn't do bullshit. You know what I mean? She does use her, she does figure things out on the fly. I like that about her. She is very resourceful as well, and you do buy into her going out of her way to save her kids basically, right? But them villains, boy.
Yeah.
Them villains. So imagine guys breaking inside of a house, right? And you would think, okay, they have a plan in mind, right? Either they just do what they had to do fast and leave. They just prolong things, for way longer than expected, just to keep the story going. For like for example, there is a scene where Gabrielle Union is held at knife point, right?
Right.
By one of the villains basically, right? And it kind of set it up like, oh well, this guy kind of not 100%, committed to the plan basically, right? And the leader of the group, who is played by Billy Burke, he more or less just kind of stretching things out. Like, I don't know, it's like, it's almost like he trying to play like he's all calm and he knows what he's doing, but clearly he don't even have a fucking clue what he's doing, right? And there's one guy, this Latino guy, who is like this real, how to say, he's like the Latino Terminator Dread. Like, there's one scene where the guy get knocked down by a truck, right? By a van, sorry. Like, hit in the back, like the van reverses on him and then drives over him, and yet somehow the man still come up, Jet. Right. Real Terminator shit, right? Yeah. But anyway, so there's another guy, right? Basically this kind of tweaker guy, basically, right? And he not too sure, basically he was in on the plan, but it's like, well, maybe he could do something else better. I really don't know if I'm feeling this plan, this bullshit that they just want to bring up at this particular moment when they're pulling off the plan, which is so much garbage, right? But anyway.
Right.
And you're telling yourself, okay, Eddie have a moment where he could shoot Gabrielle Union and get the money and go now, and that would have just add like an extra layer of twist basically. It would have been, oh shit, he shot her, now what? You know what I mean? No, he shoots the other guy and just leaves her to run.
Okay. Yeah.
So, in other words, like, it's the more I talk about it, the more dumb it gets stuff. But basically, it's like they just have to keep her alive for the movie to go along now. But really and truly, there's no reason for her to be alive in their eyes, right? Like, I understand she's the heroine, she has to do what she has to do. But there was a moment where the villain could have killed the hero, and he lets her go basically. He frees her basically. And there was no reason for that at all. It was just for the movie to go along basically, right? It gets even weirder when two people associated with Sean show up. The first off being the real estate agent. She shows up, she finds out what's going on, and then like about 3 minutes later she's killed. Yeah. And alright. And it's so basically I had to get into spoilers here, right? So forgive me. So basically she gets her throat slit. I tell myself, alright, this is the unrated cut we've seen here. Alright, we're gonna see some blood. Nope. Just cut to like a just cut to another shot basically. As soon as the knife goes over the as soon as the knife goes over the neck basically, it's cut to a next shot.
So it's kind of baffling as to why they push for the rated R thing.
Exactly. Because it just feels like it's just R for language basically. But when there's actual violence, I don't want to say it's bloodless. There's just probably 1 or 2 moments where characters get stabbed. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the Latino Terminator has knives, Jen. So that knives is 40. So yeah, a couple of people get stabbed, and then you see like the blade come out and then it bloody. But that's the only thing we get in terms of blood. That's the only thing we get in terms of our level violence, basically, right? Which is weird.
Right.
I mean, I don't understand, right? What else? But yeah, the villains just so cookie cutter, they just it's just something that they just could have done easy. Wait for the mother to come home, had the kids ransom, basically find out where the safe is, take out the money, go. There's
Right.
even a point, Ricardo. There's even a point where something happens and the surviving villains are left outside and trying to escape, right? I know they actually
Right.
left the money back in the house.
Right. Dumb.
And Gabriel
that
has
is-
to call Eddie and say, well, you know, we you know, you kind of forgot the money, you know. So
Right.
you want to come back for it? Yeah, you'll be basically bargaining with him now. But
Right.
you left the money in the house. Come on, dog.
Yeah.
Come on.
Like I said, the script needed some punching up.
Yeah, it needed a lot of punching up. And last thing, lads, because I mean, I could talk all day about how bad it is, right? But it's when we get to see Sean's husband, right? Who is played by Jason George.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Was surprised to
Yeah,
see
no.
him in this shit movie. I was like, alright, okay, whatever. But the man shows up like 10 minutes into the end of the movie, right? He don't know what is going on, right? So he comes in and he is pretty much attacked by one of the guys. And, well, I think is the last bad guy. And then one thing leads to the next, blah, blah, blah. Gabrielle Union comes in, saves the day. Yay! And then in the end, they just kind of hug each other. Like if, oh, well, you was there through the entirety, the whole damn movie.
Right.
You just show up like 10 minutes into the movie, you spend like 5
Right.
minutes, and all of a sudden, oh, it's about the family, and we're alive
Right.
now, yes!
Oh my God! They could easily have a sense of she tried to call them and they're in trouble, so you show him in a sense of urgency to get to them now. But they
Well-
don't do that.
Well, you're right. The only,
Yeah,
one
that's the
one
thing.
way, the only, here's how we knew that she was married, right? She makes a phone call to the guy, outside now, before she goes and make that other call for the pizza.
Right.
And is the same thing like with the real estate agent. You're just hearing their voices over this phone call now. And then when you see them, they get attacked. And like in the case of the real estate agent, she gets killed. But with the husband now, he's like I say, he's attacked and yada yada yada, right? But the point is, you couldn't have a scene where we see the husband. Couldn't have a scene where we show the other person at the end of the line. They couldn't do that.
Right. You have at least have some sense of escalation and urgency now.
Yeah, like I understand. Like clearly, Jason had a real busy schedule. They only had him for one night. Okay, fine, but you couldn't show one scene of him in an office talking to your
Yeah,
wife.
something.
Couldn't do that. Man, just show up in the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Wow, boy. So yeah, boy, this has some lazy writing, boy. I was actually in disbelief at how lazy the writing is, though. And I don't know, boy. Is you have James McTeigue, right? You have Gabrielle Union. You have people committed to what it is they're doing. Even right down to Billy Burke and the other actors who, like I say, they really care for. Even right down to the kids who, like I say, they try their hardest, but because they're given shitty characters, they just kind of came off, with shitty acting, basically. But God,
Right.
boy, at least you could have a solid script. At least you could have punched things up. At least you could have more tension. At least you could have some moments where I was like at the edge of my seat. No, it just plays out like, yeah, she come in, she do she thing, no tension, no thrills, no suspense, no nothing. A lot of F-bombs thrown in just because you want to have a R-rated movie, but then for theatrical
What?
purposes, you dumb it down by having
Yeah.
people say frickin', which still makes no sense.
Right. Now, why even put in that at all?
Why? Yeah.
Right. Like they
And-
mix up that bloody shooting schedule.
Yeah, boy. So to me, it just kind of felt like they just didn't know who the audience was, who they were,
Yeah.
But once again, here's the funny part. From the tagline it has, "Payback is a mother," to the release of the movie, to the premise of the
Right.
movie as a whole. The premise is great, don't get me wrong. The premise is really great.
No, yeah,
And-
the fine premise.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong. I mean, no, you can't go wrong, obviously. But what I'm saying is that there's a solid enough premise going forward. Now, I'm not too clear whether or not Gabrielle Union was useful for this. And I get the feeling
Well,
she was kind of
she did co-produce the movie, but
That-
yeah,
it will be a-
but
that's
still her being in the lead role, yeah, I do agree with you. It's kind of iffy. I would more believe it
Right.
as somebody like Taraji, her just being older, I guess, and
Right.
because she could play badass women anyway. But you know what I mean? Not to say that Gabrielle Union can't, but
Gabrielle Union don't look like an older woman anyway. He still look like, at least aesthetically, that's not the cell now. She could still play young characters, so it's like, I mean, she is believable as a mother. It's not like, it's totally implausible that she's a mother or anything like that. But at the same time, is that, not really buying this as some kind of badass struggle woman. Exactly. And again, does the movie show her like being a badass at any point in the beginning to say, okay, alright, you set up that she can kick some ass?
No.
Or she's just a normal person?
No.
I know they have a similar. Yeah, there's a similar movie with Halle Berry that was floating about that I didn't watch.
Oh,
that had that same thing.
What's it? No, not Taken. God, I forgot the name of the show.
Right.
Kidnap.
And
That's
then,
it. Kidnap. That's the name of it. Yeah. Where her son got kidnapped and basically he's her trying to drive. Well, here in a car trying to chase after the guy who has her son.
Right. And then there's another vehicle with Paula Patton as well that just like come and go and I didn't see.
Oh, Traffic. Yeah. I heard about that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I know it have a working pattern of these films. I mean, they're cheap and they just make easy money in DVD sales or whatever, Redbox or whatnot. But like, most of these just generally unnecessary though.
Yeah, and speaking of Redbox, this movie should have just gone straight there. Right? This is a straight to DVD movie, true and true. Yeah. It doesn't really do anything. It doesn't really try anything different. Like, this could have been like a modern, exploitation flick. You know what I mean? Like some kind of throwback to like those old kind of revenge movies of like the 70s and 80s now.
Yeah.
If it was smart enough, if it was a little bit more self-aware. But no, the gimmick is, well, it's a mother and she has to break inside it to rescue her kids. Great, but why am I not feeling the tension? Why am I not biting my nails? I don't ever bite my nails, but just saying, I felt no tension at all. I felt no real stakes, even right down to the kids being inside. And last thing I'll say before I get to rating. Even they themselves aren't given anything to do. It's just, the bad guys have us. What will you do? You know what I mean? I mean, they do try one or two things, but it's not really enough for me to say, all right, at least they're figuring things out. At least they're trying to get the upper hand. It's just, wait for mom. I mean, mom's going to come to save us. You know what I mean? And I don't know. That it just really took me out of the movie a lot, too. So, overall, with the talent involved in it, boy, this could have been, way better than it was, boy. And you had the R rating right there. You could tell just by the use of the F word in it, right? But they could have gone further with it, and in the process, at least punch up the script, make it really edgy now, instead of trying to dumb things down and be like some kind of life. It really, truly, it feels like a Lifetime movie of the week, but just with the word fucking it. That's what it really feels like. Yeah, because that's the only thing you have going for you. Like, okay, like compared to the movie we watched, the name's slipping me right now. Revenge. Right. Revenge, right. I was thinking about that same thing. Like, look at what Revenge did. Yeah, it went way over the top, but it worked, right? I'm not saying that Breaking In should be all gratuitously violent and bloody, but at least go the extra mile to really, entertain us now, not just dumb it down and play things safe. Yeah, put some stank on it now. Make an effort. Put some stank on it, man. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, boy. This is one of the biggest disappointments of the year, and like I went to. This look like crap, and I expect it to be crap. Yeah, but like I went in with expectations low already, Dread. Like I said, I was curious. I was curious to see how bad this movie was, boy. But they had me at censoring the F-bombs though. Like me realizing that they censor the F-bombs in the theatrical cut. When I pick up on that, I was like, okay, y'all on some bullshit, right? Y'all on some bullshit. Yeah. So for me, this gets a light 2 out of 5, boy. I want my money back. I know I didn't spend money on it, but I want my money back. I want my time back. I want my 88 minutes back. This could have been some kind of modern grindhouse film like Revenge. You know what I mean? But no, we have to dumb things down because, and I don't know if it's because it's Gabrielle Union in the lead, like, be violent, but don't be too violent. Yeah, but you know what? You see that? No, but you see that there's, okay, so, there's a last point and we can move on, right? Yeah. There's a whole generation of black actors that have that problem where they don't want to they want to keep looking clean, they don't want to take the extra effort, but they want
big hype for what they do. And I put Gabrielle Union in that bunch where she don't do anything too particularly risky because the only risky part of her is being black, right? I'll put Will Smith in that camp as well, where he don't take no effort to change his body type or anything like that to play a character role that you need to change your body type for. He still had to look like sexy Will Smith.
Yeah, well, with the exception of Ali, though, but that was like years ago.
No, but Ali was still him looking like a badass. He looked great, but you have to not look great. You have to look dirty. You have to look grimy. You have
okay, I see what you mean. Yeah.
You have to look bad.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with these people. Like, you have a whole generation of black actors who not going to do that. Now we kind of getting these modern actors who could actually make themselves look like a mess. So I'll put like Lakeith Stanfield in a camp now.
Yeah.
And still get a sell now. Whatever. Moving on.
Yeah, moving along. Breaking In is one of the worst movies of 2018. I can't even recommend this unless you just want to see how unbelievably bad this movie is. Yeah. But I can't really say this is one you can watch. Like, well, I guess if you're intoxicated, you can watch it. But this is not one you can watch and laugh at that much. You'll just be like, God damn, right? They just had the opportunity. They had the opportunity right there and they just let it slip. Right?